Hello everyone and welcome back to Abundantly Minimal. My name is Sarah and today we have a minimalist favorites video. However, it's not just current favorites of belongings that I'm enjoying in this current season of life, but all-time favorite items that I've had over my adult life. So we're not just talking about things from the last month. These are some of these that have been in my life for years at this point. So I thought this could be maybe a more intentional alternative. I've seen some channels that create these favorites videos every month, sometimes multiple a month. And it's something doesn't sit right if you're pushing, new groups of products, even if they're favorites so often. You have to be doing a lot of consuming to be able to pull that off. So I figured let's really just pick a top 15. And also, none of these are sponsored. This is not a sponsored video. And I think that's also important because sometimes people will do a favorites video where they're talking about a favorite being a sponsored item. And I'm totally supportive of creators monetizing their work since there's a lot of work that goes into YouTube videos. I also know how it is. They send you talking points. They send you a script that they want you to say, whatever brand you're working with. So I am very happy that this is genuinely my favorites and not just because I've got a sponsorship. Now with these, a lot of them do have referral links. If you've paid for the product, you can then get a discount or give a discount to others. So there are some products where I'll mention them today and there is a referral link or an affiliate link. I'll have those clearly marked. I do receive a small commission for that. These are still my honest opinions. So just figured I'd clear that up. But yeah, I was thinking all time, what are my favorite belongings? And that's what we'll discuss today. Number one is something I'm using multiple times a day at this point, and it's very simple, but it's honestly changed my life so much, and that is, technically I believe it's called a milk frother, but it has a lot of different uses. So it's just a very simple handheld tool. It can be great for making lattes at home. So for instance, you can use it to make a matcha latte. I love me some matcha green tea. You also can make coffee drinks with them. I make Jake beverage every day in the afternoon with this, and it's super easy. I love that it froths up the milk, but also can assemble your drink really nicely together without having to use a blender or anything like that. Other uses, I'll make these other pink lattes with some superfood powder that I enjoy a lot. Jake has actually used it to help protein shakes be less chunky. Sometimes it's tough to get the chunks out, so this can help smooth out the consistency. And there's also that emergency powder or the vitamin C powder that sometimes Jake or I will take if we think we might have been exposed to someone having a cold or something and we want to prevent ourselves from being sick. Honestly, just did that recently and it blended up great with the milk frother. So really, this is such an all-purpose tool. It's relatively inexpensive and truly I'm obsessed with it. It's changed the game for me every day. So definitely want to encourage you to check that out, especially if you regularly are purchasing lattes or other beverages from other places. This might even be cheaper than one of those beverages somewhere else. Favorite product number 2 are these nimble portable chargers. I do love it when I can find a super sustainable and ethical company that's doing all of the good things in a lot of different ways. And for me, not only does a portable charger really help in general, maybe you have found this to be true if you've got an older phone or an older device, sometimes the battery can be a little hit or miss and it doesn't stay charged as long as it used to. I still want to keep the old device. I don't want to have to just upgrade and, contribute more e-waste to the environment, but it can be really unfortunate if your phone dies while you're out and about in the world and you don't have a charging option. So having these portable chargers is so convenient. I love keeping the portable smaller one in my purse so that whenever I'm out and about, I can charge it. And the larger one actually holds up to 10 charges. I find the larger one especially helpful with travel because maybe you're camping and you don't have access to power. You can still charge phones and other devices. Maybe the location of the charging ports in your hotel room or Airbnb are not in a convenient location. Maybe you're traveling overseas and the outlets are different and you only have one converter. There's lots of ways that this can be helpful, and I love their whole mission. They're packaged completely in cardboard and plastic free. They also include a bag in each container that you can submit up to 1 pound of e-waste and mail it back, and they will properly recycle it. I know I've talked to so many people who have struggled with different aspects of decluttering, and what do you do with that e-waste can be a big question. So it was very exciting then to be able to have an easy option. Not only do you get the charger, but now you've got an envelope, like an effortless way to send in some of these devices that are old for proper recycling. So I'm going to link them below. Obsessed with these resources. A big upgrade we made a while back, I believe in February or March, was doing some major bedroom upgrades. I'm not proud to say it, and this was probably bad, but I think, were using a mattress that was about 30 years old. Yeah, that's not recommended. So, well, at least, that kind. And the bed frame and box spring, it was just all kind of gross. So we finally upgraded that after a long time. And I did a lot of research in deciding what type of bed frame we were going to get and mattress. And we got an avocado mattress, which I really like. That did not make my top 15 though, of all time. This is a tight list to be able to work it out. So I wanted to talk about the bed frame though, that we're very happy with. I will say we were looking for something that was a great company, that was sustainable, high quality, that was easy to put together, that fit our style, and also wasn't, exorbitantly priced, even though obviously you have to pay for quality. That's how it honestly often works. I'm aware of that. But we really were happy when we found Thuma. I'm hopeful I'm saying that right, but that bed frame is... We're obsessed with it. It's perfect. Not only did it assemble very quickly, Jake and I working together, put it together, I feel like in about 10 minutes. I had accidentally flipped one of the parts at first, which is why they say 5 minutes on their website. It was close, like 10 minutes. But we put it together very quickly, and it's got a beautiful color. It's very sturdy. We also love the height of the bed as well. And one of the parts we wanted a headboard. But also the headboard can add cost. The headboard can also be a little complicated sometimes. So what we really like about it is that it actually has a detachable kind of I guess it's like a foam headboard, but it's covered with a fabric sleeve. I believe they have a couple different fabric sleeves that you can choose from, and it's washable. So it's just been nice to have a little bit of a headboard without committing as much to the higher price point of a traditional headboard. And at least for our space, we found it to be really nice. So this bed was a huge upgrade for us. It made me love the look of our bedroom so much more. So definitely check them out if you're interested in some new bedroom furniture. I know I've mentioned this briefly, at least in one other video, but we did earlier in 2023, we purchased a robot vacuum. We made sure to buy it when it was on sale for about 40% off. This particular model, it is a Shark vacuum. Full price retailed at $550. We paid $300 exact for it. Honestly, it has been one of our best purchases. I might put this number one on the list, although a vacuum as your number one item is not necessarily that exciting. Whew, little cough attack there. With the robot vacuum, preparing to purchase it, I did a lot of research to figure out what was going to be the best fit. And so it's got a lot of features that I really love. I would say in general, to me, what is the most impactful about this is that it truly eliminated the task from our daily lives. Well, actually, not daily lives, because we were vacuuming maybe weekly, but we should have vacuumed more because it would be a little gross the last couple days before before you needed to vacuum. But being able to vacuum by pressing start and having the vacuum go around your space is truly amazing. The vacuum does such a good job getting things. We weren't sure if we would have to then go back in and finish areas, but the truth is we do not. It's so clean, and we run the vacuum, I would say, every 3 to 4 days or so. It's really just consistently clean in our house, and before it was always just an added chore that neither Jake or I really wanted to do. I mean, I'm not against it, but I'm pretty busy and there's a lot of other things I'd rather do. And also, what we love about this vacuum, in addition to the fact that it does it itself, its size is very compact, so that it's better than us vacuuming like with our upright vacuum, because the robot vacuum can go under things. Like it can go under our vanity, under furniture, like our nightstands, for instance, under the bed. We have a rug under there, and it's so nice. Like you can see just the nice rows evenly after it's vacuumed there. It just makes such a difference knowing that all these places we couldn't get easily, the vacuum can get. I say he because you can name the vacuum. So we gave him a name. But anywho, like in the app, you can name it, especially if you end up having multiple of the products. Anyways, we also really like that it has a self-empty feature, because whether it's an upright vacuum or another robot vacuum, I don't want to have to take it apart and dump the stuff out. But sometimes you have to. That's how vacuums work. But it's got a canister also where it charges, where after it's vacuumed, it docks at the charger. It shoots the stuff there's like a chute up, and it sends all the stuff that it picked up while it was vacuuming to that container. Usually it does that twice during vacuuming, like once midway through the vacuuming, it will like go back towards the kitchen where we have it stored, send the stuff, and it goes right back to where it was to continue vacuuming, which is very cool. And then it will finish up the vacuuming before it returns back to the charger. And then you just have to pull that canister out, dump it, and you're good to go. And we find we only have to dump the canister like every month or 6 weeks even. So that's pretty convenient. It goes in rows, which I love. So I think some of the older models, it seemed random, but there's a lot of purpose in this path, that the vacuum takes. And also the design of it, another reason why we chose it is that it's set up in a way that hair does not get caught. It was always a pain. It felt like every 2 or 3 times we would vacuum with our upright vacuum, we had to go through, and I got long hair, I shed. So my hair would sometimes get caught in the vacuum, and we'd have to like pull it out or try to cut it out, and it was just not fun. So that only added to our desire to not vacuum, because that extra step. So all of these reasons have just made it so pleasant. It's a lot quieter too. So like if I'm on the phone with the vacuum around, like I can still have the conversation. It doesn't affect things. It also can be scheduled. So if you're going to be out of the house, you can vacuum. I could go on and on. Basically, I'm just so happy with this. And after it's worked out so well, I was trying to look up, are there any other things that I can take off my plate and not have to worry about, because there's an alternative option. Unfortunately, nothing that was useful to my life, but yeah, it's a game changer. So I encourage you to check it out if it might be of interest. I guess my only disclaimer, I would say, and I don't know if this is true for other vacuums, I love that it maps the house and sets up. It's not going to be good for a multiple story property. We just have 1 story, so it's fine, but they can't do stairs. So if you've got stairs, that could be, something to consider, because the vacuums, they generally avoid, stairs, and they don't have the technology to do that. So that would be my only disclaimer, that I'm not sure if you've got multiple stories, how that would change things. Item number 5 is my Fitbit. You've seen it in probably every video for the last 2 years, I feel like. I'm obsessed with this. It's been such a helpful tool for me to not only monitor the steps that I'm taking, but also it tracks sleep as well. Those are the main 2 things I use it for. I know there's other functionality. Oh, also workout tracking. I can see if I've done enough workout minutes that get my heart rate up. So ultimately for me, it's been an immensely helpful tool. Of course, there are lots of other tools. I'm not saying, oh yes, Fitbit over the other brands. I don't know about the other brands. This was, I think, $100. This might be one of the cheaper ones. I bought it 2 years ago. It got a little bit scratched up. I'm a little clumsy, and sometimes there's a track at the gym we go to, and sometimes like my hand accidentally like scratches the wall like as I'm walking there. So there's some slight damage from the past 2 years, but it's just been so nice to see this. I know I talked about this in my video about sleep tips for night owls or people with insomnia, as I am both. And this tool actually gave me so much helpful data, and I even realized about myself, like I used to look down upon my sleep and my sleep schedule and feel like maybe I was inferior because I wasn't sleeping as much as other people. or I was going to bed so much later than other people. But it turns out my data, I actually sleep better. Like my points that I get are higher than Jake, even though he sleeps 2 to 3 hours extra per day than I do. So it actually gave me a lot of peace of mind knowing even though I'm not sleeping as much, my body is handling it very well and I'm thriving that way. So honestly, huge benefit. Sort of on that lines, this is actually something more so for Jake than me, but maybe you can relate if you've got someone you love so much and they like have struggled with something for a long time and then finally they find something that works and you're like, yes, like I love that it's working for you. So this is also related to fitness, but Jake, I think it's been 3 or 4 months now, he tried the Copilot app, our program. Essentially, you're paired with, it's all digital, it's remote, but you're paired with a personal trainer and you have a call, like a Zoom call with them essentially, and you talk through your goals and your fitness level and things like that. And they put together these custom workouts for you and you message them through the app. Jake has wanted to get in a consistent workout pattern, honestly, our whole relationship, I feel like. And, he's wanted to get stronger and that's been, maybe like an insecurity for him for a long time. But this is the first time something's actually worked for him. He has it plugged in to do 3 lifting-based workouts. They don't all have to be lifting, but those are Jake's preferences. Lifting workouts every week, and he hasn't missed it at all. The only times it's been a little restricted is when we've been on vacation, but he has been consistent every time. He is really going above and beyond, and honestly, we're seeing results. So it's very exciting for both of us to see that happening. He's very happy about it. I think he's finding more joy in the process. The issue before was that he just didn't really know what to do. Like, I totally feel that way. There's a lot of overwhelming equipment and machines in a gym, and you don't know, like, okay, well, what do I do? How much do I do? How often should I do this? Do I do it every time? There's a lot of questions, and so it's just given him a lot of peace of mind. So I know that because it's working out so well for him, it just makes me very happy as well. And you can do other styles of workouts. I know I've heard several people talk about it. Actually, I know they've sponsored some people. We chose not to reach out to them for doing this video, but I do know that Jake has like a link where if someone signs up with his link, Jake gets a free month, and then whoever's signing up also gets a free month. Jake currently pays $89 a month for it, which, although that's definitely a decent cost compared to like personal training costs, because Jake did try personal training for a while. I think it was like about $60 or $70 for each hour-long session. And obviously Jake wanted to do more than one session a month or something. So definitely this is more cost-effective in the long run. And Jake's found he really enjoys talking to his coach too and is very helpful in, if there's anything that Jake, is giving feedback on in the session, like, hey, like this machine was a little tougher, or like, could you show me like in a video, like the form again? Because it's a pretty cool app. So just wanted to plug that as well. Even though I personally haven't used it, it's given me so much joy how it's working for him. All right, the sun was just getting a little too intense, so I had to shut the blinds. So we will continue this way. I'm also going to try to speed up a little bit because we've only done 6 of the 15 things so far. Number 7, I really love. It's the brand Youre Super. They do some different superfood powders. Specifically, the one I've been using for about 2.5 years now is the Moon Balance. I find it does make a big difference in just my overall hormone balance and helping keep my cycle regular. I have noticed a difference when I don't have it, such as when we're traveling, compared to when I'm having it regularly at home. And I know earlier I mentioned I like to make these lattes. It's like a pink latte. It doesn't really taste like strawberry, but sometimes I put strawberry in it as well. And it's just very pleasant. I'll do that later in the day. It's also nice for something with no caffeine. And they certainly have a variety of other ones. So that's just a personal favorite and have it almost daily. Another supplement brand I'm a big fan of is Ruths. They have a lot of different types of supplements. They have liquid-based, they have vegan gummy-based, they have other types too. So for me, it's very exciting to actually find like a vegan gummy option. They also have sugar-free options and a lot of other different types of supplements I find, helpful. So for me, obviously, I'm trying to eat a very balanced diet regularly. So sometimes in reviews for supplements, people are saying things like, this changed my life. I suddenly felt way better. I'm generally eating pretty well on a regular basis, and I have a variety of these that I really enjoy using, but I'm not having all of them every day. I'm not trying to overdo it, so they're definitely been something I've enjoyed. I especially have recently enjoyed the probiotic one. I think for me, although I do enjoy vegan yogurts, they can be a bit pricey, and I'm also often likely to overeat them. Like if I get the bigger tub, I might finish the whole tub in like 2 servings, which is not ideal. So for me, it's nice to have these, and they're very portable and, easy to take. And kind of like a dessert, they've helped me as I've been trying to cut desserts out of my daily life as much as possible. One of my favorite belongings actually came originally from a fan recommendation, I think 5 years ago, maybe. It's these Ozeri Stone Earth pans. They are a non-stick pan, but without some of the chemicals used in traditional non-stick cookware, and I'm obsessed with these pans. We had the original size that we got first, and we've been using that same pan for 5 years. There's not scratches. It's holding up really nicely. And then in the last few years, we bought a smaller one and then a bigger one just to give us a little bit more functionality. They truly are non-stick. I don't have to use oil, which I love, and they work so well from anything really from pancakes to stir fries to anything in between, really. We use them all the time, and we don't have any other cookware we use like in this purpose instead. It's just these, and they're great. We keep them at medium heat generally, or medium to high heat at most, like a 4, since we've got a 1 through 6 scale, which I believe is recommended for them, and they can, have a really nice even distribution of heat. So highly, highly recommend. And so thankful. I don't remember who specifically recommended it to us, but it was a wonderful discovery to make. Maybe this next one's a little bit TMI, but I do get really dry feet, especially in the winter, but kind of year round. And I would use a lot of different foot creams to try, especially my heels, to try to keep them soft. But ultimately what I found to be best is this foot scraper or foot scrubber. Basically, I use this like once a week, and it helps get the dead, crusty skin, like cells or flakes off. And then you put the lotion on after it, and it makes a huge difference. My feet feel better, and they certainly look better. So definitely not the most glamorous item here on this list, but I use it regularly, and it's a huge help, especially since the foot creams and whatnot I was trying before weren't doing enough. This actually has made a huge difference. While we're talking about personal care products, this is more of a generic brand favorite, but I do love the brand Youre. I know I've mentioned them before, like in my skincare video that I made, and previously too. There's a wide variety of products I use from them at the time. I like their shampoo a lot. I use them as my swim shampoo after I swim laps, and I also use them at home, different one, but I use those. I use it for face moisturizer. I love their products. So it's a brand I highly recommend. They do a lot of different options, so you can certainly check out. I'll just link to their general website as well if you want to take a look at some of their offerings. But for me, I find it to be a really great skincare brand and hair care brand that I can trust, and I find that they do quality products that do work for me. So I had to include them here. About 2 years ago, we purchased an air fryer and also toaster oven combo. This was the Cuisinart. We bought it from Costco. It was one of the deals. I had my eye on an air fryer for a couple years before that, but I really liked that this was the toaster oven combo. So the only downside, a lot of times packages put air fryer directions on for a traditional air fryer, and ours is a little different. So I do usually tweak the directions a bit, but this thing changes our lives as well. We use it every day, sometimes multiple times a day for multiple meals, and it's so nice. As mentioned, we use it for toasting as well, like, any toaster oven function. But the air fryer aspect is so nice too, because it can make some of these things that we're cooking up really delicious, especially convenient for freezer items. It's also great for taking leftovers to the next level. So if you even get takeout and they give you some fries that aren't great, pop them in there for a few minutes and they are magic. I love how it's got a lot of different options and functionality, and it is just a very convenient tool to use. Certainly a little bit bigger for counter space, but it was nice that it was able to replace the toaster we were using previously, and we do choose to keep it out at all times because we use it so frequently. The other kitchen appliance we keep out at all times is our high-speed blender. I know I've talked about this before. I love using the blender. I'm very much a smoothie girl, and I've technically used it for other things besides smoothies too. I actually had a lot of beautiful end of season summer heirloom tomatoes that my parents had grown. So I used actually 6 of them last night to make a delicious gazpacho in the high-speed blender. And it really does make such a difference from someone who had more traditional, like lower quality blenders for a long time. Not only do the high-speed blenders last a lot longer, especially I've had Vitamix. They have really long warranties, but not only does it last a long time, but the quality of the smoothie is great. You really won't feel the need to go buy smoothies anymore, really. I find that I can make them better even than getting a smoothie out. And it also even can pulverize like little seeds from berries. You know, like strawberries have little seeds. It's a perfectly smooth concoction after you're done blending it. So for me, I find it to be a game changer. So helpful, especially if you're looking to try to get more produce in your life. I think a smoothie can be a great way to do that. So that's definitely something I have found to be very worth it, especially for the quality that you get. Favorite item number 14, something we use every day. And at this point, it's almost been 2 years since we've started using them, and that is fairy lights. Now with these, we have the fairy lights currently in 3 locations of our home. We have them in our office. We have them out in our main area here, which are the ones we use the most frequently. And then we also have some around like our TV and fireplace area, which we actually put up when we hosted Jake's brother's wedding at our place here back in April. The fairy lights, I think, can do so much to transform the space. They give such a calming glow to them. It feels very peaceful, and it doesn't even have to just be like in the winter or when you want the feeling to be cozy. So we find it very helpful to give a little extra light to our office where Jake and I are working, because we don't have as much natural light in there, especially in the afternoons. So it just brightens up the space, makes it more pleasant, especially in the evenings and until I go to bed, you know, around 3 or so. I love having the ones by our archway in our kitchen there. It gives a really nice glow to the space, and as I start to wind down for bed, that's when I'll start to unplug or turn off other lights besides the fairy lights. They're the last ones to go. And we don't use the ones around the fireplace and TV every day, but it is a really nice environment if we're going to be watching a movie or something on the TV to have the main lights off and just those little lights on. And also if just the fairy lights are on in this room, it gives it such a calming presence. So I highly recommend giving them a try. I just would highly recommend make sure you purchase LED fairy lights, and I always go for the warm color just to provide that extra warmth. The LEDs are going to last a lot longer. Our first set was more so just a generic like golden Christmas light sort of thing, but they only made it about 6 months. Granted, we use them longer than most people are using, you know, holiday decor, but for us, it was important to have a much longer option. So we've made sure after that first set that everything's LED. Number 15, my last favorite I'm sharing in this video. This is furniture based in our home office. I am completely obsessed with these organizers that we did purchase about 1.5 years ago from IKEA. This is the Hauga, and we are so thrilled with them. It was a pretty fun project putting them together. We put these 3 pieces of furniture together in about 2 days, Jake and I working together without too much headache. We managed pretty well, I think. But truly, before we had these, our spare room was not a mess in terms of clutter, but it had no presentation, it had no shape, it had no style. It was kind of like the leftover room. We had like a random nightstand that I was kind of using as like a work table, and we had random organizing bins that we had from before. You know, it just, the room had no character. After building these, not only did we have much more optimized ways to store all of our different business supplies, school supplies, that sort of thing, but it really gave the room shape, I know we added our business logo there, which also gave it a lot of personality. And honestly, I just love that space so much. I love working in there. We've certainly personalized the space a bit, and yeah, just highly recommend it. Love that furniture. It's some of my favorite furniture in the house, which is why I thought I had to include it in today's video. That wraps up this list of 15 of my favorite items. I hope you found this to be an interesting topic. I know definitely something I haven't made in a while. Maybe like, it's been at least 5 years since I made like a favorites video, and that might have even been a monthly favorites. Who knows? It was fun. And links are below if you're curious to check out any of these things. Of course, make sure it's intentional for yourself and no impulse purchases are being made for this. If you'd like to check out any past videos, you can do so here or subscribe to the channel right up here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.